Hey now, say now. Hey now, say now. I gotta double check this audio because I would like to go back in the playback and have clear audio. That would be a blessing. Testing one, two.
Testing one, two.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. So we're live. We're live. I gotta fix my do rag. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this one without the do rag. We are back again with another one. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Ooh, please pardon my chair. I'm gonna try not to move around too much, so that way I don't have too much of that
Too
in the
much.
stream. All right, so my volume is my levels are good because I was saying, wouldn't want to go through a whole live stream and the levels aren't leveled, you know. So once again, we're back. As you can see, the title to this particular live stream is all about you. It's all about you, and why self love is your ultimate resilience. It is your ultimate resilience, 100%. You pretty much cannot prioritize anything over self love. You can't prioritize anything over self love. Is it is a word to the wise. Okay, so if you view yourself as wise, then you know and you understand why you don't prioritize anything over yourself. And I know that once again, the word comes up, program. I know that we have been programmed for a long time and a strong time. We have been programmed to believe that is selfish, to prioritize yourself. That it is selfish. It's absolutely selfish. You gotta always think about other people and you know blah blah blah. We've all heard the rhetoric of not prioritizing yourself, or prioritizing yourself is selfish. But as we have grown wiser, As we have grown wiser through experience, observation, we know that self prioritizing, self love is selfish, but it's not selfish in the way that we were taught to believe, with the negative kind of effect on it, from the negative point of view. Like you being selfish is directly affecting others in a negative way. And the theme so far, with this channel and this content that is being produced is we understand that people don't have to lose for us to win. No one has to lose for us to win. We want others to win because when others win, we win. When others prioritize themselves in the way that we prioritize ourselves, it's not from a negative place. It's not with malice. You're not prioritizing yourself with malice. You understand the concept deeper and more thoroughly than the ones that look at it from that program that they received. And that program that is deeply rooted into their psyche, that is automatically you lose and I win, you know? So that's what we're gonna get at today. Um like to shed some light on this book here. If you are looking for a book, this is it. Check it out. Check out the Prosperity Bible when you get a chance. It's it's really a I would say a compilation of authors in this book. As you can see, is a pretty heavy, pretty heavy book. Um, it has many books in here, and many of the great authors that think outside of the norm when it comes to business, when it comes to self love, your spirituality, um, the universe, God, and it pulls all of them in together and shows you that there's no one without the other. And if you have one without the other, then most likely you are living in like chaos. So this is a great book to get your mind right. All right. So let's get into the show. Let's get into the show. So the first talking point this evening, the first talking point is what self-love truly means beyond what social media tells you. What self-love truly means beyond what social media tells you. And everyone, possibly has their own definition of self-love. So I'll go ahead and give you guys mine. So what self-love means, my definition of self-love is prioritizing yourself with enthusiasm, with compassion, having compassion for yourself, having empathy for yourself, having patience with yourself, and understanding that understanding allows you to be fruitful. And you being fruitful, the ones that do not, understand it and get that, they're also able to eat from your tree. They're also able to enjoy your harvest, because if you don't have self-love, if you don't love yourself, you cannot be fruitful in a healthy way. Self-love allows you to care for your family. Self-love allows you to do all the things that you dream of doing, and it always trickles down. It always does. It always trickles down. The blessings always, expand, and people are touched by your blessings all the time. It's just like if you win $1 million and you like Chinese food and you go to the Chinese restaurant to buy food all the time from the Chinese restaurant, your blessing of winning the $1 million allows you to share the wealth and go support someone else's blessings, someone else's business. So without self-love, you sabotage your blessings without self-love, because the number one blessing is you. It's your world. So if you don't take care of your world and nurture your world and cultivate the good of your world, then you're completely sabotaged, and then you're no good to anyone else, unless they have to look at you from, they have to be wise enough to look at you and say, okay, I seen what happened to him or to her, and I know I don't want to go down that road, you know? So you can be the example, but what side of the coin of the example do you want to be on? The good side, or the side that goes through, the suffering and the pain and the betrayal? Because the betrayal is it's going to be mostly self-betrayal. When you don't love yourself, you just simply are betraying yourself. When you don't practice self-love, you are sabotaging yourself. You're sabotaging your life's mission. When you practice self-love, you allow yourself the clarity to receive the blessings. You allow yourself the clarity to receive the blessings. Because when you are all, when you believe that being selfish is a bad thing, and you allow yourself to be put into so many pieces that you're not whole, it's very important for you to be whole. It's very important for you to be whole, because when you're whole, you are able to share, you're able to give, you are able to be charitable and not feel torn apart, not feel broken down, drained. And that's very, very important. That's why, self love is important. I know that it has somewhat become cliche these days. It's like bubble baths and affirmations. And yeah, those are good. Those are cool. but it's more of being patient, being patient when you're in that situation that emotions are, running high, being compassionate in those situations when things are hectic and chaotic, being able to exercise compassion, being able to exercise patience when things are hectic and chaotic. Because the other thing about self love is you can't give what you don't have, number one. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. And also, you only get what you give. You only get what you give. So if you are looking at life, please hold on a second. Hey now, say now I'm all about my yen. All about my yen. All right, so if you're looking at life and you are wondering why it's always like a fight, it's always a struggle. Is it because oh, it's always like a fight, it's always a struggle, and the things that you want, they always are seeming to elude you, or you got to always chase it and it's running from you, and you might get close, but it always seems to like slip through your fingers. Maybe it's because what you're searching for, you're not willing to give. And the only way that you prove that you're willing to give is by willingly giving, is by giving, you know? So that's why self-love is so important, because when you learn to love yourself, now you allow the love to reach you. You realize that you don't have to go searching for it and running for it and looking for it and digging for it and trying to break down doors to find it. It comes looking for you. It comes straight to you. That's why self-love is so important. It turns you into a magnetic person. That's what the self-love does. It makes you magnetic. That's why it is so important. And people feel it. It's your aura. It shifts your aura. Self-love shifts your aura in a way that nothing else can. That's the thing. You may try everything else. You can listen to the charlatans, the coaches, but this is the key. And you can put everything else in front of this, the key. You can put everything else in front of it, but you'll always be thirsty. You'll always have a hunger. You'll never be satisfied if you continue to persist and resist the fact that self love is the only way to your treasure. Because you hear of a lot of people that have attained a lot of material, material things in this life, in this world. But guess what? They're still searching for the one thing. And a lot of them would say, some of them get to the point where they're so miserable. There's so much a miser that, hold on one second. But there's so much a miser that they'll say they're willing to give up. They're willing to give up everything to be happy. Now, shouldn't I tell you something? They're willing to give up everything to be happy. And a lot of times, the way that they get to that point is because they lost everything. And when you lose everything, the only thing that you have is yourself. And when you lose everything and you realize that the only thing that you have is yourself, you realize how much you neglected yourself in those times. You realize how much you ignored yourself when you had everything. You realize how much you didn't prioritize yourself in those times. You realize how much you gave and did not receive anything good in return. And by good, I mean things that made you happy, genuinely happy in those times. You realize that. And that's when a lot of people change, when they say, you know what, I am never going to do that again. And then the test comes, the test comes because as long as you have the initial blessing of being able to have another opportunity, the test will come to see if you truly have made a change, or if it was talk, the usual talk of what you're gonna do, but you don't do it. You don't follow through on it. Okay, I'm just checking my volume, making sure the volume is still leveled. But yeah, you don't follow through on it. You don't follow through. But after that, the gloves are off. After that, the gloves are off. After that, the universe is the universe is gonna. It's still gonna speak to you in a loving language, but that language is gonna be a little more louder, because once you know better, you do better. You must do better. That's the thing about it. The fools, quote unquote fools, or the ones that are dumb, right? They're just dumb. They're blank. They don't know. So they get a pass. It may be right in front of them, but they're not aware of it. So they get a pass. They're naive. So they don't even realize what's happening. And then something happens, or just out of the blue, all of a sudden, the same thing that they had been seeing, all of a sudden they just see it in a different light one day, and they have that moment. They have that aha moment that I spoke about in my last video. And once you have that aha moment and you know better, it's time. It's time. It's absolutely time for you to do better, because you don't have that card to play anymore to say, "Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. How could I have known? How could I have known? I did not know." You can't judge me on that mistake because I had no clue. I'm clueless. I'm dumb. Please don't blame me. I deserve another shot. Once you know better, you must do better. That's the name of the game. So once you understand that prioritizing yourself is a priority, it's number one. It doesn't ever move from the number one spot. It doesn't ever move from the number one spot. And by prioritizing yourself, I mean prioritizing your values of compassion, your values of empathy, your values of patience. Just for starters. I know I'm leaving out a few, so I'm going to okay. So I said patience already. Okay, but by self-love, I mean um by self-love, I mean patience. What was it? Patience, empathy, and compassion, right? For starters, let's use those for starters. So you must instill that in you. So all the like I was saying earlier, the bubble baths and the affirmations, and yes, that's a starter to get you, to keep it in front of your head. You can repeat, "I am love" all day. "I am love. I am love" all day. But it's the practice. It's the practice, and you get a chance to practice it when you're in the store. You're on the line, and someone is attempting to, you know, sometimes you're on the line checking out, and you're like, "Oh crap, I forgot. I forgot to grab the milk." But somebody's behind you, so you want to, hurry up and scurry and go. So now let's say the person in front of you does that. They're like, "Oh, I forgot that